SHARCS – secure hardware-software architectures for robust computing systems. The impact of technology is increasing on every aspect of our everyday life, ranging from data centers to smart cars and medical devices. Over the past decade, we are witnessing an ever-increasing amount of cyber attacks on the Internet. So, developing security paradigms, architectures and software for more secure and trustworthy ICT systems and services has clear social, scientific and market motivation. State-of-the-art defense mechanisms have been used in order to patch security holes as they emerge. SHARCS aims to incorporate security as part of the design process of a system in order to achieve end-to-end security for its users. The platform independence capabilities of the framework are demonstrated using a diverse set of applications as examples, namely medical, cloud and automotive. ISR. ISR is a generic technique against code injection attacks. It is based on diversifying the language that the execution environment understands to prevent foreign code, which is not expressed in the correct language, from executing. Normally, a CPU architecture provides a runtime that can execute binaries following the CPU's instruction set. ISR proposes a runtime that can understand different randomized languages that an attacker cannot possibly know, so it is unable to execute its own code. ISR usually relies on simple cryptographic functions to generate random languages with low performance overhead. On binaries, for instance, a random key can be used to randomize every instruction by employing a simple transformation like SOR, while the reverse process is applied by the runtime after fetching bytes to execute and before decoding them to instructions. SHARCS implements ISR natively at the hardware level and provides all necessary software stack for generating ISR-compliant binaries, as well as existing code that can be reused through ISR-enabled SHARCS libraries. There is a number of entities, all part of the SHARCS platform, involved in realizing ISR. First, the compiler produces a SHARCS-compliant binary. This particular binary can run in a compliant SHARCS OS, link with SHARCS libraries and run natively over a SHARCS CPU. The instructions executing through SHARCS are different each time the binary is loaded and run, and therefore malicious code cannot take advantage of the running process. Anti-return-oriented programming. Anti-ROP. Return-oriented programming is a technique to execute shellcode without code injection, where an attacker borrows small pieces of code or gadgets from known libraries existing on the victim's machine and uses them to execute the shellcode. Gadgets consist of instruction sequences which are part of the shellcode and end with return or branch instruction. The attacker exploits vulnerabilities to smash the stack and changes the control flow by inserting addresses of the gadgets to the stack. We present a solution against ROP attacks. For binary files, our solution performs offline analysis of the file and parts the code into chunks. Then we perform online randomization of the chunks and opcodes. This solution has no overhead and there is no need for source code. In addition, this supports legacy code. In addition, we present a solution against ROP attack in case that the source code is available. In this solution, at compliance time, we generate many versions of executable or binary files from the same source code. These versions are distinct in binary form, but perform identical functionally. Now attackers have no knowledge regarding memory layout and content of their target and cannot gather addresses of ROP gadgets to create attack payload. In the following, we can see the result of anti-ROP solution on a source toy example. As you can see, with different seed inputs, we create two different versions of binary files where the functions are located in different addresses. One solution against ROP is Address Space Layout Randomization, ASLR, where the bases of the sections are randomized. But it is bypassed easily. Our solution shuffles the entire code blocks, not only the bases are randomized. This results in creating an immune system. Every device has its own unique software. The system is protected from memory corruption attacks. Since every device contains different randomization of the software, every device becomes unique, but this breaks the attacker's scale-up model. The knowledge of an attacker in hijacking one device cannot be scaled up to other devices. Type armor. Code reuse is a fundamental building block of modern software exploitation. In a code reuse exploit, an attacker seeks to corrupt memory, hijacks an indirect control flow, say an indirect call in the code, and forces the program to reuse existing code targets in unintended ways that are interesting for the attacker. In this example, an attacker may want to hijack the indirect call on the left, originally targeting the func1 function on the right to call other interesting targets such as func2 and func3. Such interesting unintended targets are also known as gadgets. Control flow integrity, or CFI, is a common software protection technique which seeks to eliminate as many gadgets as possible from a program to hinder code reuse attacks. The key idea is to analyze the program to identify legal targets and later instrument it to forbid any illegal targets from being reached during the execution. A major challenge is how to identify such legal targets with reasonable precision for arbitrary program binaries. In SHARCS, we use a solution termed type armor to enforce CFI for arbitrary program binaries. Type armor identifies the set of legal targets for all the indirect calls in the program by only allowing targets with a compatible type, as determined by function argument count. For example, type armor's program analysis can pinpoint that the indirect call on the left only prepares 2 arguments, while the 3 targets on the right expect 2, 2, and 3 arguments respectively. Thanks to this analysis, type armor can prevent an attacker from targeting the 3rd incompatible func3 gadget during the execution. Type armor's type-based binary level analysis may not be as accurate as a source-level analysis due to the imprecision introduced by the compilation process. For example, type armor is unable to eliminate argument count compatible gadgets such as the 2nd func2 gadget. However, type armor's CFI strategy significantly reduces the number of gadgets available to an attacker, and our analysis shows that this approach is effective at stopping even advanced code reuse exploits available today. There are types of cyber attacks where the attacker must have physical access to the machine in order to retrieve residue data stored in the main memory modules. Our solution against such attacks is memory encryption. Sensitive information stored in the main memory are always encrypted. Before each load instruction, the loaded data are decrypted. When data are about to be stored back to main memory, they are encrypted back. In order to accelerate the cryptography required, we deployed AES-NI. AES-NI is supported by both Intel and AMD. It only takes approximately 56 cycles to encrypt a block. Moreover, it is present in nearly every commodity processor available today. During load operations, first we check if the block we are about to decrypt is the most recently decrypted block. If it's not decrypted recently, the block is loaded from the main memory and decrypted. Finally, the decrypted data are loaded in the original destination register. During store operations, again, we first check if the data were the most recently decrypted. If there were, the target bytes of the block are modified. If they were not, the block is fetched from the memory and decrypted. Finally, the modified block is encrypted and then stored back to main memory.